So for this video, I'm going to be concentrating on the managers, and in the next video, I'll be getting into the HUD and HUD related objects, such as score, high score, and the HUD base class and the flyweight pattern. So first off, we'll start with the AI spawner. It is a singleton. So here we have the default constructor, which is the only constructor. Here is where we read in the wave file, and we put that into a settings array. So the maximum amount of settings I have set for is 100, but it can be changed. So that's over here. So as we can see, it closes it afterwards. It's just set as a default value there. And then we set all the heads to 0. These are, the head array is a array of pointers to the Centipede heads. I have maximum of 20 because I've never had more than, well, frankly, 10. Maximum is the amount that I can think of. So yeah, and then I call the setWave function in the constructor. So here we have the reset. Reset is resets all the timers to their values. They were at the original. We reset all the factories here, and we destroy all the heads. This is called when the player dies. Yeah, this is called when the player dies. Okay, so here we have subtract head. So it gets passed in a pointer of a head, and it finds that head in the array of heads and sets that pointer equal to 0 in the array. So it doesn't call destroy all on them. AI spawner, new head, adds a head to the head array. Set wave. So this is where we read in the, well, this isn't where we read in the wave setting file. But this is where we set all the values. So we set the wave. We go to wave count is equal to 0. We put all the yeah. Well, we go through. We go through the waves and the settings and such. It's kind of I'm trying to think of a good way of describing it. So if the wave is equal to 0, then we stop at the first wave. So we add up. We keep counting. I'm really losing track of my head here. Sorry. So we read through the settings array, and in certain lines there's a W. It's the second character. These are the wave like counters. And each time we hit one of these things, we add up the wave count. And if the wave count is equal to the number of waves, we stop. So we break. So if it's equal to wave, aka if we didn't go over the setting size and didn't find anything, then we initiate these 3 values, and this is where we go in, and the settings are pretty self-explanatory, so I'll just scroll through fairly slowly here. But so here we're setting the Centipede settings. We are creating new heads for the, well, we're creating, this is the first head. So this is the one with the body. And then after that, if there are solo heads, we create solo heads. Resetting the input variables. Getting the flea settings. So here's all the flea settings. setting the Scorpion settings. And then here are all of the spider settings, which I will scroll over a bit to get this real long line in here. So basically, I'm just taking positions from the string, or I'm taking characters from the string that's in the settings array and turning them into ints, which can be done by just subtracting the char of 0, apparently, and then multiplying by whatever digit place they're supposed to be in. So like the tens digit will get multiplied by 10 and then added to the 1 in the ones digit, and the hundreds digit will get multiplied by 100 and added to the ones and tens digit. Now this seems like a pretty good time to show you my wave document. I've shown you this before a few sprints back, but I might as well show it to you again. So here we have the wave document. Most of these labels are just so that it makes it very easy to read for humans. So the reason I have these little sideways things is because I know you had said something about that on a previous sprint. It's just to make it a lot easier to identify the headers of the sections. So as we can see, I have 5 waves input here, and each has varying degrees. In the gameplay video, long time back, now like an hour of recording time, you can see these take place, like the difference. You can see the centipede length changes in the second wave. Fleas aren't, or scorpions aren't present in the first wave, but they are in the second wave. Fleas are not present in the first wave. Mushroom count goes up. So I mean, we can see these things taking place in the actual gameplay thing, and so it would just increase with every single one. And I have edited these. I've never personally gotten past wave 3, just because I'm not that great at the game. But anyway, you can add as many waves as you want as long as you just change the setting size, and that's just right here. So let's get into the update function. The update function for the AI spawner just keeps track of when the things should spawn. So it has timers for the spider, the scorpion, and the flea. The scorpion gets spawned on the timer. If the timer is less than 0, spawn the scorpion in a random position. The flea is set if there can be a flea. So if the flea's present in the wave and the flea timer is less than 0, then we check the player area for this. And if not, if there is more than the lowest amount of shrooms, then we set the flea timer back to the very top and don't spawn a flea. If there is less than the required amount of shrooms for the flea to spawn, then we spawn a new flea with the flea factory. The spider, based off a timer, and if it is present, then spawn the new spider from the spider factory and reset the timer. Yeah, so that's the AI spawner. Let's go to the profile manager now. So here's the profile manager. It's a singleton. It sets the max players equal to 2, so that's the AI blaster and the regular blaster. And then it initializes the players, and the profile manager actually is the thing in charge of the blaster lives heads-up display portion. I figured it would be easier to do it from here rather than from the actual HUD. That way I don't have to like kind of cross the profile. How can I say this? That way I don't have to put blaster sprites in the HUD. class, and I can just keep it managing itself. So I don't have to update the HUD with things from this class. So that's what this is. It's initializing all the sprites and setting the draw order. In the initializer, it activates the AI in the blaster, which, since the initializer is only called in the when the game like starts, this will be in the what's it called? The attractor mode. So current player returns the current player. Current player number returns the player number, so either 0 or 1. The draw function draws the uses a switch statement to draw the amount of lives at the top of the board. So, yeah. And if there are, 1 life, then we'll only draw the first life. 2 draws the second. 3, so on. Set player will set to a new player number, so 0 or 1. Deactivates the current player, sets the new current, activates the current, sets proper score for the player, and then sets the wave for to be the current player's wave. So die, this is called from the blaster when it dies for the final time. Here we get the update high scores. So that's for like typing in the 3 letters. The attractor mode, it activates it in the game manager, deactivates the current player, and puts current to the first player. And yeah, and so what this is saying is if the if we're not at maximum players, if we're not at the last player, then set the next player to the next one. So this was if I was having a 2-player thing. I have this in here from when I was going to activate the 2-player, but then ended up not doing that. And then we activate it. So now let's go to Game Manager. Game Manager is a singleton. Here we are initiating it, registering the input, putting the tractor mode to true, initializing all the other managers. So if we get the key pushed, number 1, it and we're in attractor mode, it will activate player mode. Reset, this is for when the player dies, it resets. The profile manager calls this, and it resets all the rest of the things, heals the mushrooms, sets the wave to the current player's wave. Add head, this is for when a head is made, it adds to the head count. This makes, or we'll see the implications of this right down here. Player mode, this activates the player mode, so if we press 1, it sets head count equal to 0, resets all the spawns, sets the player to 1, sets the score to 1, toggles the sound on, and attractor mode turns that to false. So attractor mode, here we see head count 0, mushroom field, we reset, high score, show scoreboard, reset the AI spawner, set the wave to 1, set player equal to 0, toggle the sound manager, and set attractor mode to true. So this is where we need the head count. So when a head is destroyed, we subtract a head from the game manager, and subtracts head. And now if head count is less than or equal to 0, we this is pretty much the wave change. So this is where the wave changes. We set the mushroom field to heal the shrooms. We set the new wave, and we set the wave in the player blaster. So now, yeah, so that's where the wave changes. So now let's go to the sound manager. The sound manager, I didn't realize how to do a strategy pattern for this until like today. Of course, today is like Friday, so I was just thinking about it earlier today, and I realized how I could have done it, but I didn't. Instead, in the initialization, this is Singleton, by the way. I initialize all the sounds. Here's my toggle. So toggle toggles the Boolean silent on and off, and if it's if silent is true, then it starts playing beat from the Centipede beat. And I do this because if the game is playing, since I don't have that mushroom timing thing, there's always going to be a Centipede running around, so I just have that continually playing. And then if we're going silent, stop the beat. So here we have the play sounds thing. Not thing, but method. That's the word I was looking for. So if we're not silent, then we use a switch statement on the sound. And sound is an enum that I created over in the sound manager.h. So we have fire, death, flee, kill, scorpion new, and spider music. So based on what the enum value is that is passed into this function, we play a certain sound. And I wasn't sure what you meant about like sound is playing thing. Was that the silent thing? Maybe that was the silent thing. But I just use the dot play because if there's going to be more than one of the things, you're probably going to want more than one of the noises. Yeah. So stop sound. This is if. I mean, I have some gratuitous ones in here, but I mean, if the flea gets shot out of the air, we stop the flea sound. If we destroy a scorpion, we stop the scorpion sound. If we destroy a spider, we stop the spider music sound. And that's it for all of the managers. They're all singletons, as I've said before. So next, I'm going to go into the HUD class, but I'm going to do that in another video, in my next video. So stay tuned.